Hi guys, welcome to Overbite Gaming, and this week we're taking a look at UFC Throwdown. What with UFC 6 coming out at the end of the week that I'm recording this, it'll be the day before you watch this, it will come out. I will of course be producing a video on that as well. I thought I'd look at the oldest UFC game I possess, and that is Throwdown on the PlayStation 2. I am emulating it for capture purposes. Just because it's easier to use Shadow Play than hook up a capture card to something that can play PS2 games, which I think would be my my PS2 actually, thinking about it. So Throwdown is an early game. I think it came out in 2002.
Are you
and
ready?
It was the third, although technically Tap Out was kind of the same thing, I'm given to understand, but for Xbox. It is from the stage of UFC just before I began watching it, so just pre-Ultimate Fighter 1. So you've got people like Mark Coleman, Tito, Vitor Belfort, Pedro Hizzo, from that sort of era, Josh Barnett, all those guys. This was kind of interesting in that it had heavyweights and light heavyweights, and you play through what's called UFC mode, and you have 4 fights and then a title fight, and you win a silver belt, or if you do it twice you get a gold belt. And once you've beat it once with a fight, you can enter them into open weight, where light heavyweights can fight heavyweights and vice versa. The controls are serviceable. They're nothing compared to like modern controls, or even sort of the Undisputed series controls. They're far more in depth. In this, it's very Tekken, so you've got a face button mapped to each limb for striking, and you can amend that by stepping. So you do a step and then like press an attack button, and it'll do a modified version of the move. You use dual button press like throwing in Tekken to do takedowns, and when you're on the ground you use those for transitions and submissions. Submissions in the game don't have a mini game associated. If you manage to get it on, they don't reverse it. That's it, it's done. It's game over. They just tap out. And he does some nice sort of gronky, bone-breaking noises when you slap on a Kimura and things like that. So it's pretty good.
Ready?
There's no sort of the instruction booklet, which I also have, is not particularly informative. It tells you what the ground positions are, the basic button moves, but it doesn't tell you how to transition to ground. That's actually something you need to pick up in the skill section when you're creating your character. Otherwise, if you're just doing UFC mode or arcade or tournament, then you don't know basically what the controls are to get into it. And it does the job. There is blood in the game, although it's not very good. It's more like a graphical effect on the canvas than you'll see on the fighter himself. The character models are some of them are okay, some of them are not okay. Frank Shamrock looks like Charlie from Fringe for some reason, not King Frank Shamrock, so there's that. And a lot of the other characters don't bear much resemblance to their fighters, but there are some which you can point out and go, oh no, that's Tito, and that's Josh, and Mikey Burdett is pretty easy to recognize because he's bold and pale, so things like that. The gameplay itself is relatively fun. It's not. I mean, it runs like fine for speed wise. There's no lagginess to it or anything like that. Being a PlayStation 2 game, you'd hope not. I mean, generally speaking, there were PlayStation 2 games were either very slow or fine. There was no sort of spikes in the performance generally. They just ran how they were going to run. And this one does okay in that regard. There's not a whole bunch to it. The longest mode is a career mode. So you can create a fighter, or you can take in one of the other guys. And during that, you'll do one of several things. You'll start off with some skill points. And you don't just dump skill points into your bars, your sort of stats, or learning new moves or anything like that. Use them to pay for exercises, which will then give you stats and new moves should you complete them. So you do that. You do 5 sparring fights, and then you get put into a tournament, win the tournament, and then you get to pick a new martial arts style to add to your repertoire, which is opens up more training sort of sessions for you. You do that 5 times and then you beat it. It is pretty much just doing the same thing over and over again. So although it may take you longer than the UFC mode or any of the other ones,
are you ready?
Then, you know, you're just doing the same thing all the time. And you would, and if you're like in the shit, and you always go for a takedown and try and get a sub, because as I say, if you get the sub on, that's it, it's game over. But sometimes you'll be reversed and put in stuck. And you can reverse as well. But it's just using the same sort of tech and throw buttons. It does change a little bit. There is an opportunity to catch punches and things like that using the same buttons. But it doesn't use any of the triggers or bumpers, anything like that. It's just the face buttons and the stick. I did find that you're supposed to be able to get up from a dominant position by circling the left stick. I couldn't make that work. I don't know why. It just would never work for me. I don't know if I'm not doing it fast enough. I mean, the stick is a damn tricky one. The left stick is a damn tricky one to circle fast. So whenever I have a game that I'm needing to do that, I tend to like take my right hand and put my palm on top of it and do it like that. So I don't know if I was just taking too long or whatever, maybe. But no, I could never get that to work. It is a bit of a blast from the past to see the fights you haven't seen in years. And Big John is a referee in there, and Mary Yamasaki is a ref in there. They are recognisable. Their character models aren't too bad. Bruce Buffer does all the announcing, as you would expect. The intros to the fighters I've cut out as much as I can because it plays, you know, the UFC entrance music, and I'm not sure whether that would be copyright or not. So I've just kind of like skipped the entrances as much as I can. I've given you like a brief glimpse, but that's about it. They are kind of weird because you've got like the character model from the game sort of inside a pre-rendered sequence. So it looks kind of weird. The music of the game is just generic rock. It's nothing real memorable, I don't think. There's nothing fighter specific, whatever. So they don't have like their own entrance music or anything like that. But I think in UFC games that's more acceptable than if they did that for something like WWE games, for instance. The game isn't too bad until you cranked up hard difficulties. I'm playing it on sort of medium-ish. I say medium-ish, you can probably guess what I'm actually playing.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
But it is a nice sort of one of those games where you can come on and sort of have a quick go in there for an hour and sort of scratch that itch. It's not one that you're going to be playing for weeks on end, certainly. And, you know, when I was growing up and I had a PlayStation 2, I was in work, so it wasn't as bad. But certainly when you spent like 40 quid on a game, you kind of wanted the game to last a little bit longer, an hour or two to sort of like just scratch an itch. You wanted a game that would actually keep you invested, whereas this one sort of runs out of steam pretty damn quick. So yeah, I mean, it's worth go back and check out if you're interested. But there's not a whole bunch of reason to like get amped up for it. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't amped up for the new EA UFC, and you know they're fairly iterative, so I can see why that might be an issue. I've liked them all so far, the UFC, EA UFC ones, and I've liked all of the Undisputed ones. I would certainly put all of them above Throwdown. I haven't tried some of the ones because I don't own them, so like Tap Out 2 or Sudden Impact, I think is the other one.
Are you ready?
It came from this sort of or the PlayStation 1 game. I've never played that either. Maybe it's something I'll try and get and have a look at, maybe for future videos on the channel. But it's not something I'm raring to go and do. It's kind of like I've played WWF Raw. I got it on the PC and I didn't think much of it, so I never bothered trying Raw 2. I hear it's a little bit better, but no real great improvement. But you know, it's one of the good things because I can always go back and pick it up. It's not a problem. Second hand is second hand. eBay is your friend for that sort of shit. You just got to be careful because I bought Black Flag off of eBay once. Because I had on PlayStation, but I wanted a trainer because I got pissed off with the stealth sections. So I bought it on PC. unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you've got the game or the disc. It's the only license code they care about. So even though I bought it, I was not able to use it. Thanks, Ubisoft. So I ended up buying it on the Ubisoft store. And then the trainer wouldn't work with it. So that was a fucking dud. Anyway, guys, that's my quick review of UFC Throwdown. Nice little slice of history. Nothing to sort of get real worked up about. It does play more like a fighting game than like a proper MMA game. Something like
Here we go.
EA MMA or
ready?
The Undisputed series, stuff like that. But if you can pick it up for cheap and you're a UFC fan, then it might be worth doing just to play as some of those old favourites. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.